basically I'm in a position that can best be described as between a rock and a hard place as far as office staffing is concerned. I've got two clerks. I've got Joyce Gagnon, who's my district court clerk, and Joyce was with me as a private attorney back when I had my private practice, and is now the head clerk there. And I have a deputy clerk, Diane Cheatham, who's the wife of Greg Cheatham. I think some of you know, a businessman here in town. And the reason that I contacted the mayor and the county judge is because I simply need another person in the worst kind of way. What I'd like to do is go over briefly, why I need another person, and then hopefully answer questions. I know a lot of people have questions. One reason I know that is because people come to me all the time and say that this member of the Quorum board had this question, or this member of the city council had that question. And hopefully I can answer them now that we're all in the same room together. The workload that we had already in the district clerk's office was too great for the clerks. If you compare them to the amount of caseload that we have, compare it to the various other counties, nobody was doing anywhere near what we were doing with two clerks. And as a result of it, and it's becoming more and more complicated all the time as the city, as the state imposes new requirements as far as reporting, new requirements as far as what they do with what our people must do as far as reporting and distributing fees and fines. We had reached a point where Joyce was working between 60 and 80 hours of overtime every month. Diane was working close to that every month, not really as much as Joyce, but pretty close to it. And those of y'all who are elected officials, which I guess is everybody here, y'all know that it is simply illegal for me to work with somebody overtime, not pay them. You cannot work people that much without either giving them overtime pay or comp time. But they nonetheless they do it just in order to get the work in. It's reached the point though where they've reached their tipping point. And I think a couple of things that helped reach that tipping point was this. One of the ways the workload has increased dramatically this year is with civil filings. The civil filing numbers will just blow your hat off. Last year, 2010, we had 241 civil cases filed. Now, a civil case is not like a case where the police arrest somebody, or the police give somebody a speeding ticket or what have you. A civil case is where one citizen or one company sues another citizen or another company seeking civil relief, such as money damages and what have you. In 2010, we had a grand total of 241 civil cases for the entire year. So far this year, as of today, there have been 953 civil cases filed. Now, that's obviously works out to a rate that you extrapolate over the remaining. It's only August the 10th. If you extrapolate to the end of the year, it comes out to about 1,600 civil cases. But even if we don't get another one filed, we've got 953, which is about 4 times what we had all of last year. Now, to put this in perspective, the Circuit Court, Columbia County Circuit Court, had 225 civil cases filed all of last year. They had another 300 divorces filed last year, but still, for the entire year, the Circuit Court had nowhere near as many civil cases as we have already this year. I can compare it to El Dorado also. El Dorado District Court, they had last year and will have this year, talked to them today, they will have about 950 filed this year. In other words, the whole year. the same number of civil cases that we have filed so far this year. And El Rey has a full-time civil clerk. That's all she does, is work in civil cases. Now, of course, and I spread my clerks between the civil cases, the traffic cases, and the criminal cases. And on the traffic and criminal, we'll run about 7,000. The criminal cases have been down a little bit, but we'll run somewhere around 7,000 criminal and traffic cases. Now, somewhere in neighborhood of 1,500 or 1,600 of these cases. Now, the next thing that is going to start kicking us is our legislature has just changed our laws regarding marijuana and theft of property. Now, it used to be that anybody caught with less than an ounce of marijuana was considered personal use, and that was sent to my court. Anybody who was found to have an ounce or more of marijuana, it was considered to be a felony, and it went to circuit court. The legislature in this last session, and this law took effect on July the 27th, now anything up to 4 ounces is considered a misdemeanor. So people with 1 ounce, 2 ounces, 3 ounces, up to 4, they will now come into my court. I talked to CID from the city, and the city estimates that that's probably 50 to 60 of their cases a year will involve marijuana between 1 ounce and 4 ounces. I don't know how many it is in the county, but that's what they estimate in the city. Now, the reason that is significant is because those are, of course, Class A misdemeanors, which will tend to be the most difficult and the most time-consuming cases. Those are the ones where people hire lawyers, and we have trials, and there's a lot involved because the stakes are so high. It's not like a speeding ticket. Sometimes we'll have big trials and speeding tickets, but most of the time what we have big trials on will be Class A misdemeanors, where people stand a chance of going to jail for a long time, having substantial fines, and having, of course, a lot of places you get charged with or convicted of something like that, you lose your job as well. The other thing the legislature did was change the theft law. Now they've raised the theft limit. For so long, for so many years, it was $200. Under $200, it was misdemeanor. Over 200, it was a felony. Then a few years ago, they bumped it up to 500. Now it's at 1,000. Anything under $1,000, as far as theft is concerned, is considered a misdemeanor now. So what this means is that it won't be the cases that we'll get from this won't be people that are stealing CDs from Walmart. It'll be people that are stealing painting machines from their employers, or embezzling money from their from the place that they work. Talked to CID again, and they said there might be as many as 100 cases a year that they would send into district court in that neighborhood of thefts for up to $1,000. Now, there's good and there's bad from that. And the good is it'll be an excellent chance to increase revenues with all those marijuana cases coming into district court, because those typically have the largest fines, especially if it's going to be somebody with 2 or 3 or 4 ounces. And also the thefts. Those will have significant fines too, that people are stealing large amounts of money. The bad news is that it will substantially increase the work. So by that, what I'm telling you is that we're starting out with a situation that was not tenable to begin with, and then adding the civil case workload that has just exploded this year, and then adding the cases that we're going to be picking up, extra marijuana and theft cases. It all points the same direction, which is to be busier than ever. Now, one place a lot of those civil cases are coming from, people don't have any money, they're not paying their bills, and folks are suing them. But one place a lot of them is coming from is the hospital. The hospital is filing large amounts of litigation, which is fine. I mean, but we want to be able to process their litigation and give them, the kind of service that they're entitled to expect. So that's where we are. Now, I would like have them, but I do want to mention a couple of things. I imagine the very first question that will be on everybody's mind is how is this going to be paid for? And here's all I can tell you there. I don't have a pot of money that we can pay for it out of, but this is what I would suggest to you. One thing is that what we have in district court is not a problem with the amount of fines that we have. It's a problem with the amount that's collected. I know that's something Mr. Lewis has been very concerned about from time to time. Mr. Lewis might be surprised to learn that during the years that I have been a judge, the average amount of fines on city cases in the years that I've been judge has been $581,000 a year. In the years that I lived here in Columbia County before becoming judge, the average was around $250,000 a year. So it's not that there's not fines there to collect. The problem is that the average collected by the city during those same years has been $229,000. That's less than 40%. The city collects less than 40% of the fines that I levy. Now, the county has a much higher, I don't know what the county's doing differently, but they have a substantially higher collection rate. The county collects in the neighborhood of 70% of court costs, 71% of court costs, and 54.5% of fines is what the county collects. So they're well ahead of the city in that regard. Now, that's one other thing that has kind of bit us a little bit is the way that the state does this is every dollar we collect, they want their court costs paid first. So we don't get first money. They get first money. So if I fine somebody $1,000 and then he has $300 court costs on top of that, then when he pays that first $300, that goes to the state. And we start getting that. Now, if you've ever been involved in business and never collected anything, you know, it's easier to collect the first 50% than it is the last 50%. The closer you get to 100%, the harder it is to collect. So every time the state increases their court costs, which they've done regularly, and which they did again in the last legislature, it makes it harder for us to collect our fines. And I'll show you how the numbers work out on that. As I said, the county, on county fines, on county court costs, the county collects 71% of the first money. But then they still have their average pretty good on fines. They collect 54.5%. The city collects 60% of the court costs, that first money that goes to the state, which is not too bad. But on the actual fines collected by the city, it's 39.5%. And it's getting worse. Last year, the city collected under 30%. Less than 30% of the fines that were assessed last year, the city collected. So what I'm saying is that if the city increases their rate of collection just a couple of points, you know, that's enough money to hire somebody. Now, the other areas I see as possible income producing areas are, as I indicated earlier, if we're going to have more marijuana cases and more theft cases, and as a general rule, I can tell you that my judicial philosophy is that there's a difference between some college kid that gets caught with one little marijuana cigarette in his belongings, as opposed to somebody that's got 3.5 ounces that they get caught with. Because I know what that person with 3.5 ounces is doing. They're in business. They're buying and selling and trading. And so those people are going to wind up with substantial punishments, including substantial fines. Now, so on the one hand, having more marijuana cases for us is going to be more work, but I think it's going to translate into more revenue as well. And the same thing with the theft, is I think that will translate into more revenue. Also, as you know, a side benefit of this is on the marijuana cases and the theft cases, that's the kind of people that I would put on probation. And they would generate probation fees, which of course is going to give the sheriff some help out there. And God knows the sheriff's department needs all the funding that they can get. They're always underfunded and understaffed. And I see that every week because, you know, I see the hard work they do with what they've got. And I almost hate to ask for somebody else when I know that Sheriff Loe needs other people too. So as far as funding the position, you know, I don't have any kind of a magic trick for that. Just hopefully, if the city and the county will increase their fine collections, that would take care of it. Now, I'm available to answer just about any question in the world you will have.
Okay. All right, you're saying that the fines are, say, the county's collecting $318,000 annually. Okay. All of that does not go right into the county fund. Is that correct? You're saying that some of it has to be sent to the state or the first part of the, I mean, do you know exactly how much the county would be spending on that?
The county assessed it was $318,000, and the average county fines collected have been $173,000.
Do you know how much of that the county keeps? That they don't have to send like to the fish or the state or anything like that? Do you know that breakdown? What the actual station?
No, ma'am, I provided y'all with that information before. What I can tell you is that the more they collect, the more they get to keep.
Right.
So,
But you're not under the impression that you follow that?
well, no, ma'am. I don't think anybody's under that impression. But what I am under the impression under is that the more you collect, the more you have, the more you keep.
What's the county doing so different that they collect roughly 20% of court costs more and 15% more fines?
I don't know. Sheriff Loe might have an idea on that.
Is that part of that applied to their taxes?
Yeah. We try, when a fine is assessed, we try to get as much of it as we can that day. Instead of letting somebody go on a payment system, which a lot of them ends up being that way, David. We try to get as much up front as we can on the court payment.
But how do you force them to pay so much a day in court?
Well,
Do we have options? You pay X amount, or do we put you in jail today, or do we have those options?
No. You can't put somebody in jail just because of their inability to pay a fine. Now, what the county has done, and the city has done it some, but what the county has done is, if somebody does not pay their fine as they're supposed to do, whether or not they have a payment plan or whether they were on a wage assignment, and that's something I encourage. I encourage whenever possible for them to get wage assignments. I know the county gets a lot of wage assignments. And that's where if a person is working, they can have a certain amount of their money deducted from their paycheck every week and sent automatically to the county. And that's nice because, you know, if you don't see it, you don't miss it as much. You don't get it in your pocket, you don't miss it quite as bad. One thing that the county does fairly often is if somebody fails to pay their fine, they will file a petition with the court, have that person made to appear. And we do this on special days. We had one on July 27th. And at that time, I determined why this person hadn't paid their fine. Now, if the court finds that they have the ability to pay and have not paid, then they can be put in jail. But you can't be put in jail just because you don't have the ability to pay the fine.
So back to, how do we get more day up?
I have a philosophy that, well, I'll give you an example. Used to, a judge would say, your fine I have to realize, okay, this person is, probably does not have it, and you just have to turn the test. But more often than not, they do.
And it is staggering to me how many of the people we have in court are either on disability or unemployed. So it's staggering.
Second guy just said that they can set up payment plans from their employer where they just be taken out of their schedule. Is there any way, is that a voluntary thing? So then, is there any way we could garnish their
Yes.
payment?
Yeah, there's various things that can be done, and one which really works well if you've got people who have worked any, is that their tax returns can be intercepted. And I think the county has been doing that a lot. I don't think the city's started that yet, or I think they're will be started. But their tax returns can be intercepted, and the amount taken out of there.
In relation to what Sheriff Loe said, like I say, we typically take them in there and turn the corner in the jail, like we'll put them in there and come up with some money, but don't, or do you have to issue it? I mean, the people that owe a fine, that are delinquent, and you learn that later on, might be a month, 6 months, or whatever, that you do think they can afford to pay it, does the city have to, or would the city have to have you to issue a warrant, and then go to it, and either you pretty well know the person who got the money to pay it, sort of a warrant, if they're going to pay it, they're going to go to jail.
Well,
If that makes sense, well,
I'm not sure I understand the question, but let me see if this answers it. Sometimes there are people who come in there and it is quite obvious and there's things that the judge is supposed to determine before he assesses a fine. And sometimes it is clear that this person does not have the ability to pay a fine at that time.
Appreciate that.
Now, what I will do then is I will set them another court date. I won't wait for, somebody to think that they might have some money or this or that or the other. I will set them another court date, say 90 days out or 120 days out. Say, okay, your situation right now, you're unemployed, this is your problem, that's your problem. You don't have the ability to pay a fine. I'm going to set your court date 90 days from now. In 90 days, I want you to come in here and I want you to report to me. I want you to tell me if you've got a job, if you have any income, and then we're going to talk about what kind of arrangements you make to pay this fine. Now, if you pay the fine before 90 days is up, you don't have to come back in here. So that's what I do if I've got somebody in front of me that just obviously has no ability to pay a fine, because that can change.
That's kind of what we need to get.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sometimes it does. Sometimes they'll find a job or what have you.
Right.
Now, if it's somebody that's healthy, Mr. Lewis, if it's somebody that's healthy, we've been using more and more community service just to try to get something out of it.
I'm trying to think of ways, but I understand that a lot of people in binds, and you get your family in a bind, and you got to work out, should work out a payment plan for them. I saw it when we built jail, that was one thing we were kind of using, at least in conversation with Larry, to collect that fine. We got jail space now, but once upon a time we didn't. And I also understand it, it costs a lot of money to database to keep them out there. I suppose I got a copy of the letter, but I don't really fully understand this place number of individuals on probation each year. They're sure they can buy a school, or you make suggestions of 35,000, 40,000 a year, but that would come from jail costs, if they're fishing from one.
Yeah, and that would be problematic because as the
Now it takes away from the county.
right, as the judge explained to me there, that money's already been budgeted for jail operations. So I think the only thing that can happen that it was about $37,000 last year. When they first started putting people on probation, it was very few people, very small amounts of money involved. But I have used it more and more. But like I said, Judge explained that money's already been budgeted away as far as the Sheriff's Department's coming. What I can do, though, is put more people on probation as we have these new marijuana and theft cases, which will increase the amount. money to probation fees, which of course will, if it goes to the same place, will help the sheriff's bottom line.
But you wouldn't determine probation just for knowledge, you would the severity of the case, right?
Well, but on almost every, I have general guidelines in almost every marijuana case I have involves probation. Because that's one of the more serious cases I have, marijuana and DWI, and things that involve domestic violence. Those are about the most serious cases that I have, and those are the ones that I typically will have probation at. So I'm not saying that I would just put people on probation to increase the money, but I'm saying that if I know I'm going to have 40 or 50 more marijuana cases, I can anticipate that there will be quite a few more people on probation. Now, of course, there are a lot of things that have to be done first. I mean, those cases have to come in. We have to determine whether the individual is guilty or not guilty. But looking at the numbers as I've seen them over the last, 10 years, 17 and a half years, 10 prosecuting and 7 as a judge, I can tell about what the numbers are going to be. And I can tell you that if we have another 40 marijuana cases a year, we're probably going to have another 30 to 35 people on probation, most likely.
One of the, well, that's a good thing, anyway, the hospital, the civil cases, and I know we make a comparison between Magnolia and El Rey, the numbers are about the same, so don't they represent the district judge over there, somewhat 5 or 6 counties?
Yes, sir. Union County. Oh, that's all.
Just one?
George Van Hook, Union County. That's it.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But the civil,
We have about 70% as many cases as they do. And civil cases, we'll have more than that.
I know, like, say, the probation was substantial increase, let's see, the local probation was about.
Right. But I don't know who would have told you that about George. No, he is a district court judge for El Rey.
I thought he had like 4 or 5 counties, so I was wrong.
Only Union County.
Okay.
That's all he's got.
But I was gonna say, on the hospital, you think that, the amount we got here, since we just, apparently the hospital just started that collection program, that it will, you think it will fall back, you won't be as many cases?
I have no way of knowing. Apparently, there's been a shift in their approach on bill collection, but I don't know if that means it will be a lot this year and a little next year.
Well, I'm positive on my, I'm not trying to engage it at all. Sound to me like it needs to be.
Well, I've got to have some help.
And another question about Waldo, the letter, you might have to take, or will have to take on Waldo cases beginning January 2012.
Right, I get Waldo. There's no question about that.
Okay, well, is Waldo gonna pay, they're gonna pay or the city and the county gonna have to take up the slack? If we get any money from the court cases, or will we get any from Waldo?
They will have to take on part of the cost of running the court as far as my salary is concerned. They will have the choice, and the municipal league arranged to get it this way. And I'm not sure I fully understand why they did it this way, but Waldo will have the choice, as I understand it, whether they want to keep their court clerk and keep their court clerk office and have court in Waldo, or not have their court clerk, not have their court clerk office, and then the cases will be heard over here. Because Waldo becomes a division of Columbia County District Court on January 1. The only question is whether they still have the overhead of having their own clerk and having their own place to have court and that. But they'll get the money from the cases either way, whether I hear them in Waldo or whether I hear them out on Rye. But
I guess I'm certainly hit the 50-50 split we have now. I mean, if they're on Waldo, I think they'll have a space.
they're going to have to pay the law in that regard now says whatever they're paying their district judge pay their district judge in 2010, it's added to the district judge's salary, or excuse me, for 2011, it's added to the district judge's salary for 2012. But I don't know if they keep their if they keep their district court clerk over there, their Waldo City clerk, in their office there, then I don't think they'll be have to contribute anything to the operations of the court. Even though it will increase our work some, because Joyce will have to supervise everything that comes in from Waldo, because when it gets sent in, it gets sent in as from Columbia County District Court anyway.
There's no loss in it.
Well, it's just a division of ours, so when they will go to my head clerk, I won't let anything be sent off without it going to my head clerk. That's what I'm hoping that bid will do that. But I'll be responsible for it, so. And we've been doing real well, in that regard. I have to give Joyce credit. Our audits have come out just absolutely fantastic since Joyce has been the head clerk.
If you're gonna have to take on that workload, and you're gonna sign off of it from this court, your clerk, is there not a way to set up a services charge to Waldo for that?
There's not a provision for that under the statute as it exists.
Seems a little unfair.
It seems more than a little unfair.
And there may be arguments that the municipal league had for doing this that I'm just not familiar with. I saw it from the county's point of view, really, instead of from the municipal league's point of view, because here the city and the county had that relationship already in place for years and years. But you gotta keep in mind that where all this is heading, that down they're assuming that down the road, none of these cities are going to want to have their own clerks, and it's all going to just become part of the district court system. And which leads us to something that we'll save for another day to talk about, which is
Might as well tell them what's coming down the road.
well, let me tell you what's coming down the road. And it almost came down the road this time, and you got thrown off the track. There's a chance that we'll lose our district court judge. The legislature acted this last time, and they took 43 of the counties and started combining where they're making all the district court judges full-time, and on some of them, they're combining. Little Rock will have, Placid County will have a passel of district court judges. Garland County will have 4, but some of the counties will have 1, and some of the counties they will just combine with other counties. And the legislative program that they put through this last time, or tried to put through this last time, combined us with Washita County. So what that would mean is that either there'd be an election in Washita County and Union County, and either somebody from Washita County would win, or Columbia County would win, or somebody from Washita County would win. If somebody from Washita County would win, well, that means we wouldn't have a district court judge here anymore.
Consolidation.
They still have 2 courts, but I have to wonder how, if somebody from Camden, how much are they going to be interested in coming down here and taking care of our problems?
Yeah.
But where it really scares me is this, is, the only reason there's no law that says that we have to have any circuit judge. We just happen to have a circuit judge because Judge Chandler happens to live here. And there's been a gentleman's agreement among the lawyers for the last 50 or 60 years that says, well, El Dorado will have their judges and Camden will have their judges, and then, of course, El Dorado's got 3, Camden's got 2, and then Magnolia's got 1, Larry Chandler. And that's been the gentleman's agreement. Now, if that gentleman's agreement goes by the wayside, and now El Dorado's got 4 lawyers, and Camden's got 2, and if we lose our district court judge to Washita, and all of a sudden we don't have a judge in the county. It's bad enough now when Judge Chandler counties that he covers. And he's the one that covers the little counties. But when he's on the road, I'll be the only judge in town. So if you don't have a district court judge here, and you don't have a circuit court judge, then we're without a judge. And the sheriff can tell you what a catastrophe that would be. But like I said, I hate to get into that part, because that's kind of that's down the road. That'll be something that'll come up at the next legislative session. It was that close to happening to us, and some legislators, including Mr. Fielder, managed to derail that. At least for the 32, for the 32 counties, we're still kind of in limbo. They don't know what they're going to do with us. What I'm hoping they will do is either make Columbia County on its own, so we'll be guaranteed forever to have a judge here, or combine Columbia County with Lafayette County. I think Lafayette County, they're either going to be lumped in with Miller County, so they're not going to win that election anyway, or they could be lumped in with Columbia County. They probably wouldn't win that election, but I think they're a lot closer to us, culturally and population-wise and everything than they are with Miller County. I think we've got more in common with them. But that's something else that keeps me awake at night.
Judge, if we find the money to fund this position, what will you do, or is your part-time girl lady gonna be your full-time lady? Or will you keep that part-time help, or will you let that part-time help go?
Talking about Casey or
Casey, yeah.
Well, all she does, I pay her out of my automation fund, and all she does is there 2 hours a day, and the reason is because the city and the county don't cooperate with the district court as far as inputting tickets. Okay? The other counties, like for example, El Dorado, the district court there, they don't input any tickets at all. County inputs the county tickets. City inputs the city tickets. Well, here the city inputs the city tickets, the county inputs the county tickets, but they put them into their own software systems, which is completely incompatible with ours. So everything that they do, I've got to do over. I've got to get all their tickets and input them manually, one by one, every month, into our system. Now, that's another benefit that El Dorado has is Judge Van was able to exercise a little influence and get the city and county to come around to where they would use a system that was compatible with his. So, to answer your question, Mayor, I don't know that this would impact that at all. Like I said, I'm paying her out of my automation fund, and under the theory that if she doesn't put those tickets into the system, I don't have anything to automate.
I didn't know what she did.
Yeah, that's all she does. She's there 2 hours a day, and so she's like a quarter person. She's there 2 hours a day, and all she does is input tickets. And I would love to trade her for having the city and the county, input theirs in a way that we can use them. But if they don't, then I'll still have to have her input the tickets. Now, and for those of y'all that are not familiar with the automation fund, the state initiated legislation years and years ago that provides a fee, an installment fee, on people who don't pay all their fines on time. Okay? If you don't pay your fine, if you go past 30 days, it adds $5 to what you owe. If you go another 30 days without paying, it adds another $5. It's $5 a month. That money goes into a special fund. Half of it goes to the state, half of it stays here, and it goes into an automation fund, and it is used for automation purposes of the district court system, which it's at my discretion. And that's what, I don't see many of you folks out of court, but ones that were there before and ones that are there now, you can tell that something, he says, Judge, first time I ever done it. Well, I can just look right there and find out, how many times he's done it before. Or he says he's already, and he's paid that, I look right there and see when the last time he made a payment was, which is very useful. So I put in a network of, a server and then network computers, and kept us pretty close to, not quite state of the art yet, but we're pretty close to it. We still got some things that we need to do. Luckily, we have funds to do it with. When I took over, there was $20-something thousand in the automation fund. I spent a bunch of money on servers and what have you, and now we've got about $55,000. So I've tried to be a good steward of y'all's money there, our money there.
Well, how much does it cost, how much trouble does it take to get the incompatibility into the city tickets and county tickets to where they could, give you the extra time? How much trouble does it take?
Well, I don't know, sir. That's a computer-based question, and I just could not give you the answer on that. I don't know how they did it in El Dorado. I found out that they did it, but the person I talked to didn't know any more about computer programs than I did. I know city uses Crime Star, county uses something else, and neither one of them are compatible with virtual justice, which is the one that we have to use. Now, if we could use one of theirs, we'd use one of theirs. But we're not, there are some that we have to use under the state regulations. Now, one thing we have done, I think that has helped, is now the city and county both have access to our database. We allowed access lines for the city, first for county, so they put in a terminal out at the jail, and we've authorized it for the city. I don't know if they put in yet a terminal where they can access directly our database and get information that they need on any pending cases.
The 2% you said, the city could raise their amount of collecting fines about 2%. That's a small amount, so that means we're not far from to go. They can raise it. A lot of times you just recount money at 2%.
Well, I don't have that much luck recounting my money, but
That's a good thought.
well, and how much it would cost if I put somebody on at 19.5, it would cost about 24.6 or 24.8 the employer contributions that we have to pay.
And everything's a healthcare, everything's
Well, that's figures we got from the city.
Judge, go ahead, Matt.
You're asking for this to be pretty quick.
Yesterday.
Everybody's crafty with a budget. Like you said, you're paying this part-time girl out of your automation budget. If you look here, you basically have three parties that's a discussion here. Do you have any way of looking at your budget to fund a third of that cost?
I mean, the automation budget?
Any budget.
Right.
I know there's a lot of different lines in your budget, and you found a way
I
to.
don't know how familiar you are with my budget. I don't know how familiar you are with my budget. The paucity of my budget was writ large this summer when we ran into a condition where we just, the girls were just, couldn't make, because it would be 90 degrees plus in their offices down there because the air conditioning didn't work. And we looked to see if we could move it. But I found, much to my chagrin, that the amount that I have budgeted for rent, $350 a month, won't go very far in Magnolia, Arkansas. So if you're asking if I've got a lot of money in that budget that I could kind of move around and this and that, no, sir. There's not any money there. I've got money in the automation budget, but I can't pay for a new pray you would. Even the new outside auditor we're gonna have this year, I pray they would not go along with that. And I was able to convince them that, you know, we had to have that, person come in to put in tickets. But I think that was pushing that envelope not too far out.
Somebody working hard at 60 hours overtime every week.
No, sir, I said 60 to 80 hours a month overtime.
60, but that's still a lot of time if they're not getting paid.
Right. And it's illegal for them to work that much and not get paid. Now, and of course, y'all all know that that obviously opens us up to potential liability. I don't think either one of my employees are gonna sue us, but obviously that does open us up to, potential liability. Now, so what will happen if I don't get another clerk? Well, we will not be able to provide service at the level that it is currently being provided. Okay? Because I can't let them work that kind of overtime anymore, which means that we'll probably have to start cutting back on court days, which means that instead of collecting more money faster, we'll be collecting less money slower.
Something I was gonna ask you about, do you have a estimate of how much, might, or is it gonna put us in the negative, or?
The best thing I can think is that it would be catastrophic. Because even now, it's bad, because if I've got one clerk at court with me, and the other clerk has to so much as run an errand, then my office is shut out. I got the clerk's office shut out. I have tried on numerous occasions to be put in with other, governmental offices where, where they like be an office always open. Like I had one clerk at court, and the other clerk had to do something for me somewhere else, that there'd still be somebody there. But neither the city nor the county have any extra room right now. And they look, the mayor and the county judge have both looked at every possible, you guys both stayed up late looking for places to put me, I know.
We've got places that we would be sued.
Yeah, it has to be someplace safe and handicapped accessible. I had one of my clerks get attacked. So, we deal with a lot of people that are mentally unbalanced. That's why they wind up getting in trouble a lot of times.
Well, that's the problem, obviously, some way to delete the lots of crime, I don't know. Steady increase across the nation, world.
Yes, sir.
I don't know your job, that's not part of it.
And,
Part of it's fact.
I'm with you. I wish we could, and I've got ideas about doing that one day. And if they make it a full-time position, and if I'm fortunate enough to be that full-time judge, I have a lot of ideas I think we can make work to reduce recidivism, to reduce people continually committing the same offenses over and over, especially with DWIs. I think DWIs are something that can be minimized. What else can I tell you folks?
Judge, I think you told us without the third person where we're at. If that didn't make it through, if you stop the girls, and I don't know that you're making them or asking them to work overtime, what's it gonna do to your office if those girls go to work 40 hours a week and stop this overtime? How far behind are we talking? Any idea?
You don't go to work at that office because you want an easy job. Okay? I even had one person that we employed that stayed one day. When I first took over, we were trying to find somebody, they stayed one day. I said, no, I ain't working here. Because it is. From the time the day starts until it ends, they are reaching and getting it. They've got to stay ahead of it. And that's the only reason that they're up there working nights and Saturdays and Sundays is because because Joyce, is the most dedicated person, that I have known. I mean, she wants to make sure it gets done, and it would be simply a situation where I'll have to tell her, you're not gonna work any more overtime. And I really need to do that. I really, now that, you know, now that I know what they're doing now, I don't need to let it go on. So, would they be able to do that work at 40 hours each week? No. What's gonna happen? Stuff's gonna pile up. We'll have to start, cutting the number of court dates, which means we'll have to start telling officers, you know, right now, we tell officers, during this time period, you write tickets for this court date. And then, so they'll write, tickets here, and then, let's say 3 weeks, we'll have them in court. Well, if we have to cut our numbers of court dates, then they're gonna be writing tickets for 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out. So it's gonna bog down the